Attitudeable opens the door to a new world of people transforming lives and the way we do business. This is the new year, 2026, and I am really honored to be speaking today with Joe Lepine. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly,
That's great.
eh, who was also last year with his previous book. Now he has another book, his latest book. So, Joe, welcome to Attitudeable Podcast.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited to talk shop with you always.
Thank you, Joe. For those, we I met Joe last year at the ATA annual conference in Boston. Joe had also a presentation there, and we met in person because we were like virtually exchanging ideas and interviews and all that. But it was great to see you, Joe.
Definitely. I think, and it's great that you bring that up because it's nice to meet in person, right? Online is great, but it's so different
Yeah.
when you meet in person. And there's such a wonderful vibe too at the ATA conference where everyone's encouraging each other and very much in it together. So, yeah, I'm thrilled to continue the conversation.
Thanks so much, Joe. And I have his latest book, the YouGPT before ChatGPT, and I have it in Kindle because I'm in Argentina, so it was easier for me to buy it online. Congrats for this latest work of art, your
Thank you very
latest.
much.
Uh, Tell us, Joe, what was the idea of a new book? Because your latest one was last year, right? 2025, beginning of
Yes.
2025.
Yeah.
And you're a very prolific writer already.
Well, thank you. I don't know if I can say I'm prolific yet, but I really felt a calling, like a soul calling. I knew I had to write this book because I feel like technology has become such a prevalent issue of our time, and we all have to figure out what to do with it, how to talk about it, and how we can use it effectively. In my first book, AI Resilient, the idea was as language experts and as professionals and entrepreneurs, how do we talk to clients about the value we provide in an AI world? And that was really the topic of AI Resilient. Then a year later, my thoughts were shifting more to, you know, if this technology is here and it's starting to be in everything, right? We see AI everywhere, all the programs we use. I thought, the other side of the issue is not just how we talk to clients about it, but what we're doing with this technology ourselves, how we can use it effectively. And I feel like there's, a lot of what pushed me to write this book is seeing ads that were making me upset. I would see ads on Facebook saying, replace your copywriter in one click with our new app. You don't need a translator anymore. Here's our new translation app, And the more I saw these ads, the more I thought, first of all, there's a lot of false advertising out there that's not in our clients' best
Wow.
interests. And second, we've got to decide what's important in life and what's important in terms of the tools we use, because just because something exists doesn't necessarily mean that we should use it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to achieve the goals that we want in the world. And we just recently crossed the Rubicon where most of the internet based text today is written by machines. It's AI generated. And
Yeah.
it's like we were entering in an era where I think that authenticity and writing with your heart and mind and translating with your human expertise and potential is more important instead of less in a world that's totally awash with all of this AI content. So I wanted to write a book with a few ideas of how, if we are going to use it ourselves, how can we use the technology in a way that's ethical, that gives us good results? And that's what led me to develop my UGPT approach.
Yes, and I love the strategic of the title, the strategy, like UGPT, like not it's before ChatGPT, not after, because sometimes, I mean, I speak with for myself, but in general, we tend to ask first the AI, like, how can I write? And then we improve, delete, add, whatever. But we tend to do it I mean, just the other way of the title. Can you explain
Mm.
that?
Absolutely. Well, I do use AI in my business for various things, but I
Mhm.
use it very differently than what I think a lot of people are using it for. So, to give like one very down to earth example, a lot of people are using AI to write their emails or to write their LinkedIn comments. And they may use an AI and then they will tweak it so it sounds more like them, right? But the issue I have with this approach of AI first is that it's never really you, and the fundamental structure is going to be the machine structure, and you're only going to be tweaking it. So it's almost like the machine comes first, right? And takes the priority, and then we are shaped and responding to it. And that wasn't sitting very well with me. But I had this insight where I thought, where's the handoff happening between human and machine? What do humans do well that we want to keep, and what do machines do well? And then how can we optimize the handoff? So, for example, I think that if I write a LinkedIn comment, I want it to come from my heart and my mind. And I don't care whether it goes viral or not or whatever. I want it to be me. I don't want it to be a machine and me tweaking it, for example. Or I don't want a machine writing my emails. But AI is really good at some things like pattern recognition and voice recognition and speech to text and optimizing formats. So the way that I will typically write comments on LinkedIn, which I do a lot of, is I use a wonderful little app that hears me speak. I speak my comments, and the app takes what I spoke and it formats it and it adds punctuation, and it will split things into paragraph if necessary. And it does an amazing, amazing job with virtually no errors so that I'm able to produce comments and emails maybe 3 times faster than if I were typing. So I am getting massive gains from the AI, but I'm not letting it dictate my thinking. I'm not letting it do the draft and then I'm the afterthought. I refuse to be the afterthought in an AI world. I think we have to put our humanity first. So I'm getting lots of gains by putting YouGPT, like putting myself, my heart and mind first, and then using AI. There are so many ways that we can use AI to augment what we do, to add value to what we do, to take care of some of the redundant or technical work that we don't want to be doing. There are so many ways to do that. Today my current thinking is that it's silly. It's silly to ask AI to draft things for you when it's so much more effective to use it to augment what you do. And so I feel like this is much more integral. I'm in alignment with my own values. I'm using AI less, but I'm using it more strategically, and it feels a whole lot better. So that's really what I had as the central premise of my book. Like, put UGPT first, and the UGPT in the book stands for give it your personal touch.
Mhm.
So the
Yes,
machine has the generative pre-trained transformer, but what you have that the machine will never have is giving it your personal touch.
I love that, the personal touch that you gave it to the GPT, and also to make us think, reflect, like we are the humans. Well, we will always be, but we cannot give everything. I mean, we can take, as you said, we can be more productive, speed up many tasks that we do every day, but how we are still, like as you said, only it's an amplifier, as you also stated, but not a replacement. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And I think it's very dangerous. Like, there are a lot of business leaders that are thinking, who can I replace? How can I automate? And I don't think that's a good direction for society. It's much more interesting to ask the question, where can we strategically add value? Where can we be
Mhm.
thoughtful? And also, where do we refuse to put AI because it would take the joy out of a job, or because we want to put people first? So it's like the book is also intended, like, not only to provide some frameworks, but to say we need to give this some thought. We need to reflect a little bit on what's important in life before we jump onto these tools and start massively using them for all these work use cases.
Exactly. And as you said, this is not only for language specialists or translators or teachers, but also to every profession. Yes, every leader working in any industry that must or has to cultivate, like actively cultivate today to create results that perhaps cannot be replicated. Yes, how can we be authentic and let's say, unique.
That's exactly right. And when I wrote it, just like with my book AI Resilient, I'm always looking to expand beyond the confines of the translation and interpreting world, simply because we're not alone. Other professions are confronted with a lot of the same issues today. And I think if we can expand the conversation, then we can speak with people in adjacent fields who sometimes have parts of the solution that we haven't found yet. And it's healthy to have that conversation beyond borders and to get inspired by what else is going on. One thing I would say I found very heartening in writing my book is that as I was writing it, I was taking a course at MIT on human centric AI. And this really resonates with me because the concept of human centric AI is, let's put on pause the question of good or evil. Maybe AI is evil. I don't know. But
Mhm.
the point is, if AI is here, then we have to find a way so that we can say machines are good at this thing. So let's use machines for the things it is good at. And humans have some unique qualities and things that it's important that we keep control of, like ethics or like empathy or building trust with other humans. And let's clearly describe those two things and study those two things and get clear on it so that then we can have a separation where we can say, okay, certain things we can use human, certain things we can use AI. And the great thing is with human centric AI is that with this philosophy, when you combine the two, then you have what they call collective intelligence. So an example of this is like if you have like several studies in medicine found that if you have radiologists look for breast cancer cells, they have, like in one study, they had an 87% success rate, and AI had only 83% success rate. So at first you might say, well, what's the point of AI if humans are better? But the study gets interesting because when the human radiologists also use the AI to check their diagnosis and compare notes, then the accuracy rose to 93%. I think it's a
Mm.
great illustration that there is such a thing as collective intelligence, but it requires a little bit of strategy to figure out what is AI good at, and let's see how we can complement what we are doing instead of always thinking about, doing everything faster or replacing people, which again, I don't think that's necessarily what we want to be doing.
Yes, like a mindset shift. Yes, like we are
Exactly.
the way we used to sell our services or speak with a client has to change because now it's like AI can produce words, translate quite well sometimes, but how can we stay relevant and also be of service to that companies or different clients? Yes, it's sometimes more difficult to think more like an entrepreneur than a linguist.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think we have to give ourselves some grace because we're a young profession as a semi-regulated profession, and so other professions sometimes have had more time to figure this out. So, for example, in many fields, I'm thinking about like my insurance guy. He's trained on how to do a discovery call. He didn't have to learn that. He was trained on how to do a discovery call. But we don't have anyone who has a course on discovery calls. Or I mean, I cover that in some of my workshops and my mentoring, but like there's no industry standard or industry wide mandatory training to learn how to do fundamental things like selling or handling objections from a client. And so we can't be too hard on ourselves. We were trained as linguists. We were not trained as car salespeople, but
Yes,
but we've
so
got to
true.
learn sometimes from other professions because sometimes they do have answers that we are seeking.
Exactly, Joe. And you also talk a lot about uncovering the hidden opportunities that this AI new world brings us. Can you give us like an example of a hidden opportunity that we perhaps don't see or might overlook, and how YouGPT, your amazing book, helps us to spot that gap?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think the real gold in terms of hidden opportunities is when you think more before you use AI, and
Mhm.
by the time you get to AI, you already have, you're coming to it with good information, right? Like I have a little bracelet I wear sometimes right on my desk here. It's QIQO that I had inscribed on the bracelet. It just reminds me quality in, quality out. And
Mm,
so a very specific example of QIQO in action is finding new clients. If you want to find new clients as a translator or interpreter, it's not like back in the day where you had to maybe go on Google Maps, go around LinkedIn, look and hope you get lucky and find a client. Today, you can use AI, and with an intelligent prompt and having a clear idea of what you're looking for, you can find potential clients really, really, really quickly. And the AI can give you their contact information and even details about them that may help you to build a relationship. So
mhm.
AI is phenomenal for research in ways that even, the previous Google before generative AI, ways that it was like really hard to do this stuff. So I think with the right prompts and having a clear idea of what we're achieving, we can get there a lot faster if we're using AI to find opportunities for clients. You can also find opportunities for funding. Let's say you're a literary translator. You can find opportunities where there are grants given by the government for translation of certain books. There are so many ways that you can use AI to find where there is money for your services. So this is something I help translators with a lot in our mentoring.
Yes, so true. And they are like coming every day or very quickly. I mean, new tools, new AI tools, and one like better than the other or more like different in some way. So it's hard to know, well, which one is the best for this on which one should I try everyone, every single one, or what do you recommend?
I mean, there are so many, and the rabbit hole is so deep. I'm subscribed to maybe 5 different AI newsletters, and there is not a single day that goes by where there's not some wild new AI development going on. Not one single day. So I think it's really hard to keep up. But what I've done with UGPT, or what I've endeavored to do, is to, instead of teaching you or helping you catch fish, I teach you how to fish. So I help you think about the things that you can do. You can go to AI and say something like, "Hey, help me find the best tool for such and such thing." You can go to AI and you can ask a better question to begin with, like, "I need to accomplish X, Y, Z. I have such and such context I can feed into it. Recommend a prompt for this." So this is more metacognitive. It's something that you develop before you come to the tool. That's where the whole UGPT comes into play. But this is something that can help you to keep keep up. It's like it's also a mindset of continuously learning and then being strategic to get the most that you can out of AI.
Exactly, and as you said, with so like ton of information every day, how do we like take or make the time to contemplate, think,
Right.
think like that sometimes
Oh, we lost your sound, Dolores.
I was muted.
Okay.
Yes, you are right. So how can we be authentic and not like afraid, like of everything has to be done this way or another way, and try to be just ourselves and try to find our voice with all the help that is now available. But how do we stay relevant and also with our own attitude, like the podcast? Yes. How do you find or keep on like inspiring others with your own attitude, Joe, in this new, not new now, but AI world that we are living everywhere?
Well, it's such an important question. I mean, I like to think that um, it helps to stay positive because it's an overwhelming time. It's also a very difficult time for many translators who have less work than before. And so instead of minimizing that, I think it's good to surface that and really be fully say, okay, there's been a big change. This is a big deal. In my case, like my parents, my grandparents, great grandparents, no one lived through something like this where their profession was being shaken up in this way and throwing so many things into question. So the first thing for me is like let's acknowledge how massively disrupting and yes, in many cases, how upsetting AI is. If you know about the environmental impacts and so on, it's a lot to take. So that's sort of a first thing is I like kind of a mindful approach where we're saying like, this is a really big deal. What we're going through is hard. It's a big shift. And let's give ourselves a little bit of time to breathe, support each other, do lots of calls like this one where we can talk to colleagues and
Mhm.
feel less alone. I think this is very good. And then once we can recover some nervous system regulation, then we can start to ask, okay, look, it's kind of like electricity. We have a new technology that's here. This technology is not going away. It's already hardwired into the devices that are being manufactured everywhere. It's here. So let's set aside the emotions now and say, how are we going to use it in a thoughtful way that's going to add value for my client in a way that I feel good about ethically. Like I find that one thing I love about the UGPT approach is because it's more strategic. I use AI less. So if I have thought about my prompt and I have a good, I have an approach that is going to minimize back and forth with AI in one prompt, I can get so much done. And so that helps me to process the enormity of the change that I'm experiencing too. Like we're all very much in this together. So yeah, it's sort of acknowledging and being mindful of the just how big this is, and then saying, okay, the technology is here. What's a thoughtful way forward? That's what I've tried to put forward into in UGPT. It's like to say, here are some frameworks, here are some workflows that I use, and I give as many as I could find in the book. So lots of down to
Yeah,
earth examples.
exactly. The book is fully packed. And I love that before, let's say, approach, like proactive approach, like don't panic, but take action. Yes, you have to
Yes.
also study a lot, take different courses, as you mentioned, that you also teach specifically this, that it's all new, I mean, for us and for many people. And we can learn and seize that this opportunity more, like according to our own needs. Thanks so much,
Absolutely.
Joe. Thanks so much for continue writing and inspiring us to think that it's seems to be something easy and simple, but it's not like done or every day as it used to. So we have to continue being the captain of our ships and in
Mhm.
control of our thoughts, in charge of our lives, and we can go and do this together. Thanks a lot. And I
You're
hope
welcome.
that we have that attitude, proactive attitude, that we will improve and be honest. I mean, we use AI and we take advantage of all the things, the good things that it provides, but we are still humans and need it for our own expertise.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much. Joe, where people can find the book in Amazon? Still the Kindle?
Yes, so the book is on Amazon only for now, but I'm going to be I'm finishing up my studies at MIT, and then my next priority is to get it onto more platforms. I'm also having it translated into French. AI
Wow.
Resilient is currently being translated, and then a different firm is likely going to be translating UGPT over the summer. And I'd like to get it onto other platforms too. I really, I write from passion and because I care about the future of work. So for me, this is not I don't write for profit. It's up for $4.97 on Amazon. And my goal with this book is really to help as many people as possible to feel less alone and to feel like they have some tools to know what to do with AI. So there are lots of fun workflows in there you can experiment with. And yeah, I hope to bring it to other platforms very soon.
Thanks so much, Joe. And you are very active on LinkedIn. People can follow you with your name, right?
Absolutely.
And you also have a website. Would you like to share?
Sure. So you can head to Lion Translation Academy in one word.com. And you can even go to liontranslationacademy.com/newsletter to opt into our free newsletter. Every Wednesday, my colleague Anne Marie and I send out free tips for translators. We do this out of passion. And along with that, we offer free and paid events for translators who want to keep exploring and developing I think that's a really powerful thing we can do in this time of disruption, is take some of the time that we may have and put it into taking courses, learning more. There are so many wonderful courses out there. I have a little app I use called classcentral.com that finds courses online. I take all kinds of free courses and paid courses, and I encourage everyone, like, this is a good time to learn, because the more you learn, the less afraid you feel, because you start to feel like you have some control over all the change going on. So for me, it's been very beneficial studying AI. Even though I don't think of myself as a very technical person, it's been
Mhm.
beneficial for me as a human to feel like, okay, let's look at all the different activity sectors and how AI is helping and also how it's hurting, what other people are going through. You feel less alone, and you start to feel more confident about how you're going to talk about AI with your clients. You see that AI is just as much of a concern in other fields. There are middle managers who are very afraid of losing their jobs because AI can create a great schedule and follow up with people and do a lot of their tasks. And so they're looking at job disaggregation and all kinds of things. So I would say the more you learn, the less afraid you feel, because you see, hey, this is not a translator issue. This is a societal change, like a sea change. And the more we connect with other humans and talk about it and find solutions together, then the less fear that we feel. And I think
Mhm.
it's really crucial to be able to get through these difficult times.
Sure, the attitude to continue learning, the continuous education is key, as you said. And as language lovers, I mean, it should be easy for us to keep on learning and doing all the courses and studying and learning more. So thanks a lot, Joe. It's been a pleasure as always. See you
Thank you,
soon,
Dolores.
hopefully in San Francisco at your next speaking engagement.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to ATA in San Francisco in October, late October.
Yes,
It will be really
thanks
fun.
so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone who listened and joined. Thanks so much.